So welcome everybody to the November recording of the latest Insight podcast. Let's just take a moment to tune into the body, tune into the breath. And you don't have to do anything big or dramatic here, but it's just that little awareness, little shift. So you could be doing something that doesn't, you can't close your eyes, and that's totally fine. But if you can close your eyes and just take a little moment inwards, and you can do that without as well, without closing your eyes. Just that little shift from the outside world to a little bit more of the inner world. And just noticing. Notice how your body is sitting on or standing, or how it is right now with whatever's holding you. Noticing your posture. Noticing your breath. Noticing your mind. Noticing your feelings. Noticing your body. Okay, great. So throughout the podcast, feel free to close your eyes and kind of enter these deeper places within you. Allow my voice to also be a guide into your knowing, your body, your process. So I do not hold the answers for you. I do not hold the truth of the world. I am somebody who's just sharing my own experience. And that's when I really believe that we tap into the artistry, when we all can just share our thoughts, we can share our feelings, we can share how do we experience life through my eyes and my body, and also in relation to everyone that I'm relating with, everyone that I'm connected to. So just knowing that whatever I say today, you can take what works for you, you can leave the rest. I also teach a lot in storytelling, so there'll probably be a couple stories coming in. Yeah, and we'll see what goes on. And just knowing in the future, you can also join these podcasts live. There's a link in the show notes where you can join. So I want to do a little recap of what has been going on since the last podcast. Sometimes they feel so close and sometimes they feel so far from each other. This time it kind of feels a bit of kind of both. It feels kind of far and at the same time, yeah. And I love that they're monthly. I remember when I first started this, I was like, oh, weekly, but I was like, that would be just way too much. Monthly is a good time to check in. It's like been some weeks, some things have been happening, and I've been able to really hold that for, I don't know how long I've been doing this for, maybe a year and a half, something like this, almost 2 years. So it's been very sustainable for me, and very grateful for everyone who is listening to the podcast on YouTube or Spotify, the ones who are coming live. And my wish is that there's inspiration here for you, there's support for you, there's clarity, and that it supports your life. Like that's my vision and my hope for this podcast. So let's go over a little bit like what happened since the last episode. I had an event in Oslo, and that was maybe a week after, or like later that same week of the last podcast. It was very beautiful, and I can see how my work is developing, and as is very normal, if you stay with something for enough years, you're going to see a development, you're going to see an evolution. Just like if you stay with yourself for enough time, you see your evolution, you see the change. And yeah, sometimes when I have events, because I don't do them so often anymore, I really can see like, wow, okay, things are changing. And people are telling me too, like, okay, this is, you're evolving. There's new pieces coming in. There's new, like, the field feels very strong. And I'm really grateful for that. So people were saying that, they just love to be in the space. The space was very potent, very transformative. And for me, it just feels effortless, really. But I know it's because of yeah, the dedication, because of the passion for the work, that it just keeps deepening. And also everyone who joins, everyone who's always like in the, like, we're all strengthening the field together. And that's what I really felt at the event. I was like, we're just powerful humans coming together. And I just so happened to arrange the event. It's like, of course, I feel like I have things to share, lots of wisdom, but there's only so much I can teach in 3 hours. So it's almost like it's like hard for me it's more holding the power of the group, the power of the people. And that's something that has changed so much in my career over the years, is attracting more and more powerful people. And for those who are a facilitator and those who work with clients, there's this dynamic that's very important to step out of or reflect on in your practice, is like, where are you holding your clients in a major minor relationship? I don't know if you guys have heard of this. I think it's of somebody who has coined this type of, what would you call it, term, or psychological understanding. Yeah, it's been years, but the term has stayed with me, this major minor. Needing, in order for you to be in major, which you could say power, you need someone to be in minor, like a victim. So in order for you to feel powerful, you need to have somebody who is less than you around, right? And you can imagine, you see this in many different ways in the world. Okay, my dog is getting very excited about his rag. If you hear some things in the background. So we got the major and the minor dynamic that is actually so subconscious. It's very slippery. Sometimes it can be conscious, and it can just cause a lot of problems. So in order for you to feel powerful, you need people to be under you. And and sometimes you can even put yourself in a victim place or a minor place, in order to relate to somebody that you think has more power than you. So it gets a bit complicated. I'm not too sure, like I said, the who coined this, but many years ago, my friend told me about it, and it kind of stuck with me. So it's like, how do you stay in major and let others stay in major as well? How do you stay in your power and let others stay in the power, instead of going into this dynamic of, I'm in my power, so you have to be you have to be less than me. And oh, there's so many things that come up in certain spaces with this. There's so many things that come up internally with this. And, in the work as well, where it's like, I'm supposed to be helping you and being, but it's transcending that in my work. And it has been for many years, but I just see the evolution and deepening of it. So now when I see the people coming into my space, it's just like, I I really feel more and more I'm more comfortable being in my power, because also, I don't know if you can relate, when you're feeling confident, when you're feeling clear, when you're feeling like you know what you feel, you know what you want, you know what you're kind of bringing to the table, and it can cause some insecurity and be like, oh, but I'm a bit intense right now, because power kind of can be intense in a way of like, there's a lot of energy, there's boldness, there's clarity, there's also agency, in the sense of like, if certain people are talking about something, it's not going to be 100% that you agree with everything, because you're connected to your own kind of, what do you like and what do you don't like, and what do you do and what do you don't do. So there can be kind of a friction if everyone's talking about something and you're in your power. It's like, no, I actually don't think that. I don't believe that. I don't want that. I don't do that. And that can cause some friction if they're not able to also meet power, to be like, oh, yeah, totally. I get that. That's totally fine. Or, oh, you don't do that. Or, you know what I mean? So suddenly you have this like dynamic. And no wonder we're afraid to be in our power, especially socially, right? So much trauma has happened relationally. So, of course, things are going to come up in group dynamics. And I've seen this so much, and I've seen it, I've experienced it myself as well. Like, how do you feel in a circle of powerful people? Do you shrink? Do you feel like you belong? Do you put yourself in minor? Do you try to put yourself in like more power, like you just muster this like superficial power to kind of fit in? Or do you kind of just rest and in the Power Meets Power. So it's very important to think about in your work and in your life, in your relationships, and yeah, how much we can learn through meeting together and being together and staying in our power. And just a couple years ago, I think it was 2 years ago or something, I didn't even understand the concept of power. I thought it was very untangible. I thought so many people had different definitions of power, like find your power. It's like, what do you mean find my power? I don't get like electricity power in my body. Like, what do you mean? I don't get it. Like, yeah. And I understood it in like a conceptual way of like, okay, it's like the knowing and the drive and the clarity and the presence, but what is it really? So it became, and if you are familiar in my world, I don't use words that I don't understand in my body or have direct experience with. So there's so many words that are running around this personal development field, like find your power or tune into your heart or follow your heart. That was another one where I was like, what does that actually mean? And like, how do you do that? And what are the other ones? There's so many that I've kind of had to sit with for a long time. Trust the process. I had to sit with that one for many years before I actually could do that. Like, trust the process. Like, what process? Which process do I trust? How do I trust? And what what are we doing here? Like, the process sucks. How do I trust the process? So there are so many of these quotes that sound so nice, but it's like, okay, how are you actually, do you have a lived experience fully embodying these terms? And power was definitely one of them. So my current one is have no expectations. Yeah. It's like, what what does that mean? Because there will always be some sort of there will always be some sort of like the mind will always make a story, and how do you just get rid of that? How do you let go of that? How do you, and you want to have standards, but then you want to also be open to the unknown. And yeah, yeah, I get that. I had to debunk that as well. I actually have a class called living with expectations or something like that, where I went into that one. Yeah, I'll put it in the show notes or the email. So yeah, so what else happened? There's a lot has happened this month, actually. I feel like the last podcast I was like, not much has happened. A lot has happened this month. So after the event in Oslo, I think it was the next week, I had this huge breakthrough, like a personal insight. And I'm still kind of integrating it in some ways, but there's another concept that people talk about of like rewriting time or like rewrite your story. That was also another one where I was like, what do you mean? Like the story was already written. Can't we just continue the story? Because how can you go back and rewrite something that already happened? I didn't get it. And until this month, it's like now I get it. I don't know how much I can go into this right now because of, yeah, wanting to continue to deepen it, and I haven't really fully, yeah, I feel like I need a little bit more time, but I'm getting this experience of what it's like to rewrite the past. And I guess I've been doing it for a while, and you've probably been doing it with all the healing work that you do. In one way, you rewrite your past. And, but it's like, okay, let me understand this a little bit more tangibly, or like how, or yeah, this type of things came up, and I'm starting to feel that it's, yeah, possible and important and somehow within our control or in our power to do. So what happened was, and I'm trying to figure out how to tell the story without going so into details, but I was led through inquiry. So it's a practice, inquiry coaching or inquiry therapy, where a therapist asks you a bunch of questions. And I noticed that this is actually a really good way for me to access things in my body. You know, when I get asked questions, it's like doors kind of open up inside of me. And then they keep asking, keep asking, keep asking. So inquiry work is very powerful. I haven't gone so deep into it in a professional sense of like joining a course that's just on inquiry, but I've been receiving sessions from people who are really good at it, and it's like, wow, it's really effective. So she was asking me many questions, and it was getting me to memories and things that have happened to me. And in that moment, there was a moment where I just went with kind of the first memory that came up, because I tried to just go with what was happening. Try not to mentalize it too much. Try not to be like, oh, should I pick a better memory? It's like, okay, let's pick the memory that came up. And it was a process of neutralizing what happened, because a lot of the beliefs that we're holding right now is because something happened and we made it mean something about ourselves, like identity type of stuff, right? So there could be a parent that wasn't so present. There could be something that happened with a sibling. There could be something that happened with your first love or a crush, or there could be something that happened financially in your family. There could be something that happened culturally, like whatever, so many different things. And how it impacts you. You guys see this rag being thrown around in the back? How this impacts you is you made it mean something about yourself, because tough things are happening all the time. But it's really, and you hear this through trauma work and trauma research, where it's like the same thing could happen to two people and they each have completely different effects for the rest of their lives. They have completely different ways of processing it, and impact. So for some, the impact could be so extreme that it, really impacts them for the rest of their life, or influences for the rest of the life. And the other one is not as influenced, it seems like. So we understand that stories and things that have happened to us are different depending on who experienced it. That gives you a lot of information. That means that could every experience be neutral? This is tough for me to say, because there's so many nuance, and I feel like this is complicated and complex in many ways that I'm not going to be able to cover everything on this call right now. But if things that are happening are very different for the different people who experience them, then there is not a set meaning in the thing that happened, or else everyone would experience it the same way. Yeah, here he is. So if we understand that, then it's like, how are you experiencing it, and what did you make it mean about yourself? Because only you could do that in the moment. You can have influence from whoever's around you, and depending on your relationship and depending on how your system is kind of metabolizing and relating with that situation, it's going to be different for all of us. So what I realized is I was getting taken back into a moment where there was just a moment of time. Like life was happening, and I made it mean something about myself. And going back to that moment, and now this is a whole rewriting your past situation, going back to these moments and neutralizing what happened. And also, my big insight here, a lot of trauma happens relationally. So it's between you and another person, because when we're younger, we really depend on other nervous systems to regulate. So the relational part of being a human is so big because of the need to mirror each other. Like, we need each other, especially when we're babies. We like literally need people to teach us how to love, and teach us how to be safe, and to teach us how to, well, it's not like teach us how to love, because in one way I believe that we are loved, and like safety is innate and all these things are innate within us, but they need to teach us how to access that within ourselves, and amplify it, and really activate the systems that are already inside of us. So it's like we're on this world, I believe, to relate to each other, and grow through relationships and mirror through relationships. And Okay. I have a couple different threads going on right now. I'm like, okay, how do we bring it back? How do we bring them together? Yeah. And we also hear and realize that a lot of our trauma, a lot of our identity stuff comes from an early age, which could be an age where your system is not fully developed. And also, because of how society is, it could have been a stage where you should have been fully developed, but you didn't have the resources around you to develop you, right? So there's so many of us that didn't experience safety, love, trust when you were supposed to. You were supposed to experience this. You were supposed to have that. Like that was the idea, that we were supposed to mirror this for each other and bring the younger generation and teach them regulation, teach them trust, and continue to confirm the love that we are. So if that doesn't happen, now we have teenagers that are kind of getting more and more developed, but at the same time missing some stuff. And then we have adults that are like supposed to be developed, but also still missing some concrete relational pieces. So what happens is, so this is the insight. The story is going in many different directions, but it's going to come together, I hope. So the insight is something happened in my life. Many things happened. A lot of things happened in your life as well. And it was between me and another person. Most trauma is between you and another person. And because of my inability to feel complete self worth and to feel complete safety in my system as a, for example, 12-year-old, I was searching for it in this specific person. In that moment, I didn't get it. I didn't get what I was looking for in that person. This was like just a moment of time. That person was just living their life with their whole situation, with their stories, their timeline, their path, their destiny, their choices, their life, their body, their mind, and then me relating to this person that I have now projected onto, that you are supposed to give me this. I didn't get it. Now that makes me feel that I'm not worthy of attention. I'm not worthy of extra support. I'm not worthy of presence. I'm not worth making all of this mean, because I can't really self-generate that yet. So what happened was I was able to neutralize the experience. And maybe you can do this a little bit in your own life right now. Where have you experienced something from somebody else and you didn't get what you wanted and you made it mean something about yourself? And I want you, maybe in a light way. Oh, my coffee machine's, I forgot to turn it off, so it's going to make a sound. One moment. Okay, sorry about that. So you can feel into if you want to do it in a light way, or if you really want to reflect on this and deepen it, maybe write or meditate on this, that you can go back to certain moments and neutralize, meaning whatever that person didn't give to you, it has nothing to do with you. And that also is a term that has been very hard for me to understand. You probably heard that too, like, don't take things personal. It's not about you. Have you guys heard that one before? That's been really difficult for me to understand completely. And I still, to be honest, I still don't stand by it 100%, because I believe in like relational responsibility and things like this. But I'm starting to understand it a little bit more, where there are certain situations where there is innocence and it really wasn't about you, especially if you think of a child, right? There's so much innocence. And because the parent, for example, this is just one example, classic one for all of us, because the parent wasn't able to give you what you wanted in that moment, does not mean that you're not worthy. Can you agree on that? Can you feel that innocence in the child? To be like, the child wanted attention and the parent was busy, And somehow in that moment was like the final straw for that nervous system to be like, I guess I'm not worthy of love. But the parent was just busy in that moment. Now, of course, this could have been happening over and over and over again, and then the trauma gets more and more complex, gets more and more ingrained. But as an adult, we have the power to rewrite our story. And how we do this is we go back, because now we are able to regulate. Now we have understood that the worth comes within. It's something we were born with. The worth is innate. The worth is nothing to do with external validation. We kind of learn these things and strengthen these things. And from that state, you can go back and realize that was an adult who was tired. That was an adult who also didn't get love from their parents or didn't understand the presence that you were desiring in the moment. That was an adult that was working really hard and was really tired that day. That was an adult that has their own path, their own timeline, and their own way of living that they want to do. And as an adult, we can kind of go back and give the energy back to the person. We can kind of neutralize the situation and just be like, that's how they wanted to handle that situation. That's the capacity in which they could have done that. And it's sad. I'm not saying there's no emotions here. I'm not saying that there's, you just have to kind of, erase what happened. No, we're rewriting what happened. And realizing that the love that you wanted was all around you because it is you. It was always there because it's inside of you. It's all around you. But you wanted it from that one person at that one moment, where that one person at that one moment might have been tired and not been able to give it to you. And this like profound question of, well, then who was it blocking love? Really? Was it that person or was it yourself? And it's like, okay. So many moments I was actually blocking love for myself when I thought others had the power to do that. But of course, when you're younger, of course the power kind of is outside of yourself because you're still trying to develop your system to understand. But when you're older, you understand that no one can block the power of love. So take what you want from that. Marinate with that. I know I'm still marinating it. I'm still trying to develop this so I can share it in a deeper way or a more rounded way. And yeah, I hope that there is something there for you. So moving on, the next insight. Yeah, like I said, there's been a lot going on. This is just a couple days after the last podcast, so I still have so much to share, and the time is ticking. For those of you who are live, how is this landing? How did that story land? I'm just curious. If it was like, I've heard this before, is nothing new, or if it was like, okay, there was something there. So the next thing that happened was I held a free experience called Healing Arts. And this has been sitting for a long time behind the scenes, and I was just waiting for the moment to launch it and to teach it. I had so much fun. I know so many loved the experience. It's still available. It's going to be like lifetime access experience. So it's in my free Facebook group, Breathwork with Elisabeth Finocchiaro. And you can also find it on my website, elisabethfinocchiaro.com, and just, sign up for free and get it sent to your inbox. So it was 2 days talking about how art is actually so important for your evolution. If you are not expressing, if you are not moving with your internal feelings, thoughts, landscape, then you could actually be stalling your own evolution. And then there was a breathwork session to match that. I heard it before, but it's always good to hear it again to deepen. Yeah. So good. Might have to sit with it a bit longer. Yeah, there's a sense of truth in this. There's a resonance. I'm happy to hear that. Something new here. It's landing gradually. Yeah, great. Great. Yeah, just let it take its time. So, yeah, healing arts was just this conversation of you can heal and you can create at the same time. And so many people think they have to be perfect to start writing their book or to start writing poetry or to start a project or to start sharing what's on your heart or helping people. And it's just really, in my experience, not the case. You can do so much incredible creative, artistic expressions when you're going through things as well. And I believe as a human, we're always going through things. Like, I'm always going through stuff, and I'm sure you are too. It's like there's always depths, there's always things coming up, there's surprises, good ones and bad ones. There are, yeah, there's just life is lifing. So, how do you sustain your creative projects? How do you sustain your creative expression in that? I think is going to give you so much more of a smooth experience in life. I truly believe in the power of art and the power of expression and the power of moving your words, your thoughts, and your emotions into some sort of vessel. When you don't do that, life can feel a bit dull and life can feel a little bit like, yeah, doesn't, I don't think, move so easily, and you can be stuck in similar things. But when there's an expression, there's movement. And what I also experience, for those of you who are artists in some way or form, you can probably relate to this. My art develops in my art. So it's hard to not be creative and want to be creative and be like, what should I create? Like, I don't feel creative. What should I do? It's like, well, I just need to get into it and the clarity comes. I need to be in the art and the art evolves. So this is your sign if you've been a little bit out of it lately, if you've been a little bit stagnant lately with your art, see if you can get something to move. Whether it's just writing in your journal your thoughts and your emotions, whether it's singing or dancing or music in like an instrument, or it's speaking, whatever it is, I just sit with that feeling. So what you can actually do is sit with that stuck feeling, but put it into art. So write a poem about feeling stuck. For example, for me, if I was feeling stuck and not inspired, I would probably create, like in Breathe Live, for example, it's a membership that's always going. I would probably the next session guide a session about getting unstuck, and then I would do my own session. So it's just like there's always an outlet for me to express even the hard things that I'm going through. Most of my sessions inside Breathe Live, I know there's some members in here, so maybe you didn't know this, but you probably figured this out about me by now, that most of the sessions is actually reflecting my inner process. So of course I'm feeling into the group a lot, and a lot of my inner processes can be collective, and it's not like I'm not sensing the group. So there's words that come in, and there's definitely things that aren't like totally present for me. It's not like I'm just sharing exactly what's on my mind. There's just a beautiful way of melding my own process and the community's process together. But there will always be a sense, at least if it's not the whole session, it's often not the whole session about my stuff, but I teach from that place. It's like if I'm feeling vulnerable, I'm not going to have a session that's like, live your best life and clarity and what are the next steps, and like be super clear and super like, let's go. If I'm feeling vulnerable and a little bit like, my session's probably going to be quite like slow and spacious and inviting for dropping into the body more, because that's my art in the moment. Like that's my authentic expression in the moment. And of course I can take in what my clients want me to weave into the session only if I can stand behind it, only if I can actually talk about it. So sometimes I get requests in my session and I don't speak into it because it's not alive for me. I would just be making something up or performing, and I don't do that in my work. Where other times someone will bring something in and it weaves perfectly with the frequency that I'm in, then it's great. Embodied truth, yeah. And that's the most powerful art, is when it's coming from the authentic emotion of the person. And talking about power, I think we are the most powerful when we are also in authentic emotion. That's also what I learned about power, is that it's not about being Superwoman or Superman, it's about being real. That's what power is. Can you be real in the presence of others? Can you be real in presence of your clients? Can you be real in the presence of your creation? Can you be real on social media? Can you be real wherever it is that you're showing up in the world? And it doesn't mean you have to be messy. It doesn't mean you have to tell everyone your deepest, darkest secrets. It doesn't mean you have to ask for public therapy when you're going through something hard. Like, there's many beautiful ways of being authentic in the world. And you can also have different containers for different things, right? So if I'm going through something, my container for that is not necessarily airing it out on social media, it's getting professional support, hiring a mentor, hiring some sort of trauma specialist or someone that can help me with what I'm going through. And then that's the container of where I can be held. So also finding your different pockets of what art and what expression wants to come through, and realizing, like, just because you're authentic doesn't mean you're open for anyone and to listen to it. You know what I mean? So there's many different avenues here. But when you are real with your emotions and you find a beautiful way that works for you to share it, there's a lot of power there. And there's a lot of momentum there, and there's a lot of connection there. People will feel that. And it's going to be very beautiful. Some of like my best sessions are done when I'm completely in it. But now I've been doing the sessions for so many years that I actually can't not be in it. There's a very small percent of my breathwork sessions that are in my mind. And even if I get it a little bit in my mind, I just drop right back into the breath. So because I've been doing it for so long. And I wish that for you with your art as well, that it's like you do it so much and you're so in relationship to it that it's hard not to, for that to be your vessel, or what do you call it, your avenue of authentic expression, where it's like, here I am me, I am exactly as I am, and I create this beautiful thing, whatever it is. So that was kind of healing arts vibe. So much to share, you guys. After that, I had a breathworker training retreat, which I haven't done in a long time. And I'm so happy to be back in that space. So much has changed in my work over the years, and a lot, the foundations and the essence of my work is the same, but the way I approach it, the way I speak about it, the details and how things are getting even more detailed, more clear, is just so fun to be in. So we were a small group in 1 hour north of Oslo, and it was just so beautiful to be in that space, Wednesday to Sunday, and a lot of practice sessions, a lot of mentoring, and yeah, it was incredible. So the next one's going to be in May next year, and it's tying with my 6-month program that starts in March. So it'd be a perfect opportunity if you want to start in March, then, you know, having a couple months and then coming to the in-person training, deepen that, and then continue with the online to finish the program. And it's also open to past clients. So if you have trained with me before and you want to join the retreat, you're really welcome to do that. So just send a message if you're interested in the training, if you're interested in the joining the retreat. Yeah, I would love to have you. So the last week of May is the week that I'm looking at, and it will be confirmed very soon. So very much looking forward to that. Okay. I asked on Instagram, what do you want me to talk about in this podcast? And there was more votes for professional breathwork facilitator things, and also like mindset flow, like how do you kind of keep things flowing, which I feel is a very big topic and something that feels very alive for me right now because, like I was saying earlier, things will always be happening in your life internally and externally. So, how do you keep moving? Because for me, that's very important. And it's not to bypass, but it's to keep evolving. How do you gain the wisdom and move on? Because I have been in my life, I've been a person that's been very stuck in process. And I talk about this inside of Healing the Heart, like emotional intelligence type of stuff. Like, why do we get stuck in process? Why do we stop our evolution? Usually because we don't feel worthy of the movement. We don't feel worthy of the next thing. We don't feel worthy of the wisdom. And I was walking with some friends in Copenhagen. I was just there for a little week and met with a lot of friends. I'm starting to build a bit of a community over there. And I was saying, like, because there's something that's happening in my life right now that's taking a lot of my attention. And in the past, it would have shut me down completely. And I still have people in my life that when things happen, because this is so familiar, when things happen, the body shuts down. It's just like too much. Let me take a break. I'm out, shut down. See you in a month. See you in 3 months. See you in 2 weeks. I used to be like this, where it's like something intense happens, I'm out. I'm gonna there's just a shutdown, there's a freeze. Where it's like when something intense is happening in my life right now, of course, I can go into moments of freeze. I can go into moments of fawn. I can go into moments of avoidance. Like there's definitely moments of resistance, fear, doubt. Like, trust me, it's there. But the difference is that there's this desire and longing to not get stuck in that. And there's also a knowing that I don't have to. So oftentimes when we're stuck in these kind of loops, there is a gratification there. It's saying, I knew I wasn't worthy, or it's like it's confirming what you made it believe about yourself. So without that, there's movement. There's a continuation. There's a take the wisdom, next step. Take the wisdom, what's the next step? Take the wisdom, what's the next step? And there's just this continuation of holding and moving. It's like, can you hold and move at the same time? Instead of hold and hold, and it gets really heavy, and it gets really heavy, and you get heavier to the ground, and you're not moving. Where it's like, how can you hold and move at the same time? How can things be open and also still moving? And this has been so incredible as a really sensitive, emotional, empathic, also people pleaser type of personality, where it's like, can I just hold what I'm going through and also keep the clarity? And it's possible. And it makes life so much easier. Okay, there's so much I want to share with you guys. It needs to be like a 2-hour podcast or something. Yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna keep going because this is like what I'm practicing what I just said now. It's like, oh, I don't, should I stop and let's keep going. Okay, let's just keep going with the wisdom, trusting the movement. So Healing the Heart started a couple weeks ago, or last week. It feels like a couple weeks already. Started last week. This is a emotional intelligence program that I run twice a year. And now it's 6 weeks instead of 3 weeks, which feels so good in my system. And I know that people joining Healing the Heart, they always wanted it to be longer. I got that feedback a lot, but it never felt like that was the thing. And then suddenly it was the thing. So now it's a 6-week program. Okay, maybe 6 months in the future. I don't know. Because it takes time, the work that we're doing in there. It takes a minute for things to really shift and to feel and to integrate. And I just want to share a little insight that happened yesterday in the Telegram group that we have. And because everyone's sharing their experience and insights, and we haven't even started module 1 yet. We just had an opening call, and then I have the workbook and the resources, the meditations and things like this that are just for Healing the Heart. And I shared some of the participants were sharing that, you know, the energy's going a little bit lower. It started really high and now things are kind of like deepening or feeling a bit lower. And then this feeling came over my body. It's a beautiful thing when low energy and love aren't separate. And that really is kind of one of the moving pieces inside of healing the heart, and things that we've talked about today as well, of like when low energy and love are not separate. It's like when love is not separate from anything that you experience. That's when you really understand emotional intelligence and feeling this worthiness. And because ultimately it all comes down to worthiness of love. And this again has helped me so much on my path of as a professional and in my private life, to be like, when things are not flowing, when things are not going the way I thought they were supposed to go, love is still present. So I'm not hard on myself. I'm not putting myself down. I'm kind, respectful, figuring things out, compassionate, accountable, like just more of these qualities that seem to move things forward, right? Being down on yourself, doubting yourself, being hard on yourself, judging yourself, shutting yourself off, believing that you're not good enough, believing that you're not worthy. These are all stopping energies, right? They're stopping emotions. They're emotions that are meant to stop you. Someone who doesn't feel worthy is not going to go for things. Someone who's constantly hard on yourself, you spend so much energy beating yourself up or beating yourself down, whatever, that you can't really move forward. You're busy. Like, it takes a lot of energy to be hard on yourself. Trust me, I've been there. I know what it's like. It's a full-time job. It's a full-time job. You don't have time to plan the next move and the creative thing and have everything go smoothly. I mean, you can be a functional hard on yourself person. I was a very functional hard on yourself person. Like, people can be functional, you know, you can be functional and be in a very bad state of mind. I was talking to a woman, she was sharing with me, she used to be a functional drug addict. So she got a degree, she had jobs, she was doing things, but she was addicted to drugs the whole time. It's like, yeah, and you can relate to that. You can be very highly functional and still be very destructive. So what you do is not really, it's about how you're feeling. That makes things easier, smoother. You can be more in surrender these times. That was a good one. It's a full-time job. Yeah. Might as well do the opposite. Exactly. So you can actually do well in a job from a place of fulfillment, instead of make the job being hard on yourself and tracking everything you do and why it's wrong and why you don't deserve this and why you don't deserve that. It's like, it takes so much energy. And unfortunately, it's not easy. It's not just to be like, okay, I just won't do that anymore. Like, you really do have to go back and neutralize and surrender fully that identity that you created for yourself. So it does take consciousness, it takes courage, it takes awareness, it takes going into the body, it takes presence, people, community. Like, it takes a little moment to let that go. At least it did for me. Forgiveness is a really big one for being hard on yourself. Forgiveness, forgiveness, forgiveness. So yeah, in the presence of low energy, in the presence of doubt, in the presence of slow, expectations or slow results, love is still present. And then you can kind of, you can rest. You're not in survival, because even though this is hard, I'm still loved. And when a human is loved or remembers that they are loved, the heart beats differently. Your system responds differently. You can be more creative. You can be more solution oriented in a good way. You can be more present. You can feel more safe. And that's so important. So I hope that that kind of supported you and supported your heart. A little heart quote in there. When energy is low, love is not separate. So we're getting close to the last things I want to share. I had a masterclass inside of healing the heart. No, I had a masterclass inside of Breathe Live called The Circle. It got a little bit trippy, gotta say, but I'm enjoying the conversation of the natural circle and the rhythms. And in the breath work that I teach, it is conscious connective breathing, rebirthing style. You have done it before, you've heard of it probably, and the facilitator will ask you to breathe in a circular way. So the breath inhale goes to the exhale, exhale goes into the inhale. And there's so much symbolism around a circle, right? There's no beginning, there's no end. There's so much imprints of circles and spirals in nature. It's just kind of a natural shape that we tend to take. And this shape has always fascinated me in my work because it's the shape that I work with. I work with the circle, circular breathing. This is the shape. If I was to be allies with the shape, it would be the circle. So you can also, nature circle. Like it's just the circle. It's the shape of transformation because of the no beginning and no end, and because of the no stops. So triangles in breathing has an inhale, exhale, and then the bottom is the pause. The square is the inhale, the top is the pause, the exhale, the bottom is the pause. So there's pausing. In a circle, there's no pausing. And this has been something I've been studying and something I've been teaching and totally immersed in for almost a decade, the circle. The teachings of the circle. I believe that there's a momentum and there's always a movement because we are evolving and growing. So there is a movement. I don't believe in linear movement. I believe in more of a spiral movement. I need to go a little bit deeper into that. Like, what does that actually mean? But I'm continuing the research. But that's what I feel. That's what I believe in. Like when I move my body, it feels better to move my body in spiral movements than stagnant movements. It feels more innate. And then with the breath as well, it's shown how innate this is, the sigh of relief, the transformation, the circular breathing. So I was talking about this in the masterclass, and what's a big teaching with conscious connective breathing, kind of the basis of conscious connective breathing, if there was to be kind of like a sentence or one practice that could explain it. Breathe in a circle, keep breathing in a circle, and notice what gets you out of the circle. That is the basis of conscious connective breathing. The nuances here are finding facilitators that can help you find your right rhythm. For some, can be small circles, others big circles. So the inhale is always the one creating the length of the circle. So breathing in a circle until you want to get out of the circle. What gets you out of your circle? This is the basis of my work. If I was to write like a thesis of my work, it would be what gets you out of your circle. And there would be just like hours and years of research in this. And this is what I do with my clients. Whatever I'm coaching my clients with is basically the things that get them out of their circle, their natural movement. The things that I'm struggling with in my life are things that stop me. They're things that get me out of my natural movement. Things that I'm afraid to say, things that I'm afraid to feel, things that I'm afraid to witness, things that I'm afraid to contribute to. So I stop. I stop my breath. I stop my circle. Yeah, I'm grateful. It was a good one for you. So next time you're in a session, if it's with me or somebody else, first of all, never, just a tip from a professional, never let a breathwork professional tell you how to breathe. And I know it sounds a little bit like Okay, but aren't I going there to have them tell me what to do? You can have them inspire your breath, meaning, okay, you want me to breathe in that way? Let me see if I want to do that. So you always check into your breath. Does my breath want to breathe in that way? Especially with rhythms. And now I'm talking a little bit more, or let me frame this even more concrete. So there's two sides of breath work in general that I talk about and that I kind of define. There's more functional breathing. So this is breath work that has a result. So you want to reverse your asthma. You want to, start to have slower breaths in your nose. You want to have better heart rate variability. Like, it's more health related. It's more, I want a certain thing. Like, I've been diagnosed with asthma. I'm going to work with a breathwork, functional breathwork practitioner, and I'm going to reverse my asthma. So it's very like result based. Intuitive breathwork is more, there is no agenda. It's more experimental. It's more, you have to feel it. You have to go through it. Like, there's no agenda. So when you are in those spaces of conscious connective breath work, where it's more like you're supposed to feel and you're supposed to go on this journey with a professional, it's very important that you find your own rhythm and that you enter your circle when you're ready to enter the circle. Because if not, you can be caught up in other people's circle and other people's rhythm. And then you're wondering why it's not working for you, why you're not getting these integrative experiences long term. It's probably because you've entered somebody else's circle. You've entered somebody else's rhythm and you thought that it's supposed to be like that. Joy, freedom, and lightness keeps me in my circle. Yeah. The mind gets you out of it. Yeah. Thinking somebody else's rhythm is better. You can be in a circle, but it's like, it's not your circle. So as a professional, I even have this detail that I do that kind of developed over years. Nobody taught me how to do this. I just intuitively started to guide this with my clients, that sometimes, and mostly, the session starts when the client is ready, not when I say the session starts, because then they're entering their circle. So sometimes I can say, okay, let's exhale together and let's get going. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. But I'll only do that for around 3 minutes or 2 minutes, and then I'll say, find your own rhythm. Like, we got into the realm of circles. Where's yours? Like, we kind of entered together, but now find your circle. But a lot of the time, I actually give full timing to my client, especially with like one-on-one work when the person's in front of me. I never say like, okay, the session's starting. The breath, usually relaxation, so it's brought in the chat here, relaxation helps me a lot. When the body is safe, the breath shows itself. That one breath comes in, then I know they've entered their circle. Then I can continue that rhythm with them. So sometimes a session can start right away. Sometimes a session takes 5 minutes, 10 minutes to start with the client because they need more time to relax. And just starting a breath pattern right away without the body being relaxed, without it coming from their innate. So if the circle is innate, if the spiral is innate, my job as a professional is to find that innate rhythm. And then once we're on the ride, we're in the circle. And then they're like, wow, okay, I'm breathing. It's happening. This is feeling good. I'm like, okay, great. Let's keep breathing. This is easy. This is good. Okay, I'm breathing. This is good. And then something happens, because something will always happen. Like, this is good. This is good. This is good. Oh, I want to get out of the circle. And then as a professional, need to feel into, okay, do we take a little pause here? Big difference between taking a conscious pause than a subconscious shutdown. So I'm not saying you always have to be in a circle. The pausing is so important. The resting is so important. The taking the step back is so important. But are you doing it from a conscious place of like, I'm going to take a little rest here. There's a lot going on. I just need a moment to process. I need a moment to reflect. I need a moment to see, to hold. I need rest. Or are you pausing because it's too much, you're too much, I can't do this, my system's overwhelmed, shut down, collapse, freeze, can't do this, don't know who I am, don't know where I'm going, I don't care about, it's like, sorry, identity crisis, ego deaths, like this type of stuff start to happen. Where it's like you could have just taken a conscious rest and things would have been more peaceful, and then you could go back into the circle when you're ready. And then it's okay, things are getting a bit intense. I notice I want to get out of the circle. Can I stay in the circle? Would that be good for me? Would that be good for my window of tolerance? Would that be, can I do it? Okay, I can do it. Starts to get a bit choppy. Can I smoothen it out? Yeah, I can do it. Okay. You just kind of smoothen that hump out. You just released, you just rewired something by doing that. So the smoother the circle, the more you're rewiring things. If you can, it's like ironing a shirt. All the wrinkles are kind of things that bother you, trigger you, things that get you out of your flow. And through circular breathing, we're ironing. And then sometimes if you meet something that you just can't iron out, you just take a little break. Maybe you need to fill up some water in the ironing thing. It needs to be warmer. The shirt needs to be in a different position. And then you can keep going. Or you realize like, oh, it's hard, but like just a little bit and I got it. We got it. We're good. We're back. We're back. And it's like, oh, that one's a little bit tough. Okay, let's take a little moment. Let's reorganize. Okay, we got it. Instead of being like, I suck at ironing. This shirt is the worst thing in the world. This is never going to work. I'm never going to iron again. I suck. I shouldn't, I don't belong, right? And this is what we do. Instead of being like, I am so worthy of love. I'm here for this experience. I'm experiencing a little bit of a challenge. Is there anything I can do to make this easier? Can I take a nap? Can I take a rest? Should I take off a little bit? Should I lean in a little bit? Is there a different position that I can do? Is there, yeah. Okay, now I just kind of weaved in like real life with a breathwork session, but in a breathwork session, it would look like, can I move my body different? Can I sit in a different position? Can I make a sound? Can I stretch a little bit, shake a little bit? Like, is there something that I can create more safety? Can I go slower? Maybe you need to go slower. Like some irons, you can't just, or some wrinkles, you have to go slow. It's like, hey, slow the circle down. So flow in life is about finding rhythms that keep you in a smooth circle. And as a professional, if you are pushing your clients into your idea of what rhythm they should have, you're not approaching from the right place. Their body and their breath are showing you the rhythm, so you have to be sensitive enough to see it and then help them. And of course, you can play with the rhythms and you can explore with your clients and be like, hey, I wonder what it would be like to go faster right now. I wonder what it would be like to go slower, just so you can resource and have some touch points. But the rhythm is there and it's unique for them. And it is not your job to project some sort of experience onto them. Your job is to provide a safe space for them to unwind themselves. So I hope that there was some things in here for you that you can take and chew and digest and feel in your heart, in your mind. I hope I stimulated your mind a bit, your heart a bit, your body, your breath. And let me see if there's anything else. I think that was enough for today. Yeah. I'll share some, if there's more things coming up about my Denmark trip, I'll share that in the next episode. But I really did want to talk about the things that I shared. So yeah, now is a time where things are slowing down in my world. I'm not going to be traveling until January, I think, which feels very nice. I think. I'm not going to need to double check, but I'm pretty sure. And now it's just time to really slow down. I don't know if you're feeling that too with your life, that fall is kind of coming to an end. Fall seems to be a very busy time for many people. Structures come back, routines come back, work picks up, school is back, like whatever is happening in your life. But for me, it's things are definitely slowing down, which feels so good. And yeah, focusing on the clients that I have, healing the heart, breathworker program, my one-on-one clients, and I have space for more one-on-one clients. I'm really feeling that in the air right now, this desire to have personalized support. So reach out to me if that is something you're interested in, to explore some options that I have, and also we could create a specific option for you. So yeah, what are you feeling? How frequent would you like sessions? Things like this. I would love to create that. Yeah, a lot of bubbling joy. I'm so happy. And if you're interested in joining the Breathworker program next year, reach out. So we're starting in March, and as soon as you join, you get inside of my membership where you can start sessions and kind of start the energy towards becoming more embodied in breathwork. So there's so much support for you, and I always say that. And if it's not with me, then it's with there's just like the perfect people are all around you. And I'm just so grateful that you listened to this episode and that I'm in your life in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, all the breath talk helped me stay present with my breath. Oh, I'm so grateful. Yeah, the ones who can stay present with their breath is the energy wise are very powerful in the room. Going back to power as well, and going back to authenticity, like the ones who are connected to their breath have more power. And it's not about having more power than others, but it's just having power, like having presence, having connection to your body, being in real connection to your body will create more power. So yeah, so grateful for all of you. Feel free to share the episode or like it, or, rate it, or whatever it is on Spotify and YouTube. I know you can like it there and subscribe to my YouTube. Sending so much love. Feel free to reach out with any questions or anything that comes up from this episode, and I will see you where we are next connected. Bye, everyone.